Alright, so let's talk about something that's really important. And yeah, it might not get a lot of attention, but it should: Britain's immigration system and how it's affecting the mental health of asylum seekers. Okay, so top doctors in the UK, including the Royal College of Psychiatrists, RCSA, are saying that the current immigration process is actually a public mental health concern. Yeah, you heard that right. It's not just about the legal side or the politics of it all, but it's literally damaging people's mental health. So, the head of RC Site, Dr. Lade Smith, she's basically calling out the government, saying, look, the system we have now is re-traumatizing people who've already gone through hell. I mean, imagine fleeing your home country because of violence, torture, or even imprisonment, and then making a dangerous journey to the UK, possibly being exploited by traffickers. Yeah, it's horrible. Then, once you arrive in the UK, instead of getting the help you need, you're faced with even more stress and uncertainty. Yeah, so it's no wonder these people are suffering from serious mental health issues like PTSD, depression, and anxiety. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Dr. Smith is saying that, okay, while the UK needs a solid immigration policy, it doesn't mean that we can't be compassionate and fair at the same time. Right? Like it's possible to have rules without causing more harm to people who are already vulnerable. She specifically pointed out that the government should rethink some of the harsh immigration laws that were introduced recently, like those laws basically criminalize people who don't arrive through legal routes, and they make the whole asylum process a lot harder for people who need protection the most. And oh yeah, remember that whole plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda? Yeah, thankfully the government scrapped that, but there are still a bunch of other laws in place that make life really difficult for asylum seekers. Dr. Smith and the RCSA are saying, look, it's the UK's duty to make sure that these people's lives get better, not worse. And honestly, that makes total sense, right? So here's the thing: the issue of mental health among asylum seekers really came into the spotlight last year after a tragic incident where someone took their own life in one of those controversial accommodation barges, the Bibi Stockholm. Yeah, it was known for having really bad living conditions, almost prison-like. And this, of course, raises even more concerns about how asylum seekers are treated. I mean, imagine escaping a war zone only to be put in a place where you're isolated, watched constantly, and unable to sleep properly. Not great, right? Now, there's going to be a report coming out from the RCSA, and it's expected to heavily criticize the conditions in places like asylum seeker hotels and detention centers. Dr. Smith says the report has some recommendations for the government. So yeah, if those recommendations are actually adopted, it could really help reduce some of the harm these people are experiencing. But let's be real for a second. One of the biggest worries right now is that the government hasn't fully repealed the Immigration Act. Yeah, that's the one that could technically still send asylum seekers to Rwanda or other third countries to have their claims processed. And you know, there's evidence from places like Australia showing that this kind of offshoring causes even more mental health problems, things like PTSD, depression, self-harm, you name it. The government, of course, is saying that mental health support is available for asylum seekers, and that they'll look into the report and make changes if necessary. But yeah, the question remains, will they actually take meaningful action to ensure the mental well-being of these people? Or is this just going to be another issue that gets swept under the rug? So, yeah, this is a story that's still unfolding, and it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Should the government be doing more to support asylum seekers' mental health? Do you think there's a way to have a fair immigration system that's also compassionate? I'd love to hear your thoughts.